We are back to Cake and Chat again, and in episode 1 of Cake and Chat, we made a vanilla cake. Now we're going to be making my American buttercream recipe. It's a 1-to-1 recipe, not much to it. There is sugar, there is butter. The butter is a mix of layer pack, unsalted, and regular unsalted butter, and then there is icing sugar here. A pinch of salt, some vanilla. That's all there is to this buttercream. Now, sometimes with buttercream and recipes, you talk through how to do it and all of that. I have detailed, comprehensive recipes that I have covered right here on the channel. I'll link them in the description box. The good thing is, though, you will see them in a live format, you'll see them in long form. So I'm not going to go on about this too much because I've already done that. The purpose of the Cake and Chat is to be able to get through the task whilst talking to you. But the most important thing I want to kind of touch on before I move on to making the buttercream is the intention. Most of the time when you're seeking buttercream, you're thinking about what is stable, because you need a stable buttercream to guarantee success for stability of your cake. But one thing we don't really focus on is that there are so many types of buttercream for different kinds of cake. But what is key to the decision making will be intention. And what do I mean by intention? No one buttercream is the same for all cakes, and depending on your business model and offerings, there are different decisions you have to make. If I was a large scale wholesale cake maker who was churning out cakes, just for efficiency and productivity, it would make sense to just have one type of buttercream that fills my cakes, and then it will make for easy accomplishment, if you like. But because I am a custom cake maker, and the difference between custom and your wholesale, like lots of cakes, I've forgotten my words, people, but you see what I'm saying. Custom cakes are normally tailored to the particular individual. It is individually centered, person centered for that matter. So you can make different sorts of decisions regarding each particular cake. And whilst generally my cakes are filled with Swiss meringue buttercream generally, for this cake the client opted for a sort of filling that will match their Victoria sponge cake, if you like, which is the vanilla style cake. So the American buttercream works. My intention, though, is instead of the regular 2-to-1 recipe, and if you don't know what the 2-to-1 recipe, it is where you have 2 parts of sugar to 1 part of butter. It becomes overly sweet and can be overpowering, and it makes your cake so it's too much. So to kind of like mitigate that issue, I am going for a 1-to-1, which is 1 part of full butter, as in, and then the same quantity in sugar. By that decision alone, I am able to kind of balance out the taste and stop it from being too overwhelming. But naturally, American buttercream is super sweet. So I'm going to do a few things like add a pinch of salt, which will balance the taste for me. But most importantly, for the cake itself, we're going to have strawberry buttercream. What did I say? Strawberry filling, as in strawberry jam. Now jam, because of the tartness of it, it will cut through the sugar and it will sort of bring a balance of mouthfeel for the cake. So I am not just making buttercream to fill a cake with. I am making buttercream that will match my every intention I am taking regarding this cake, hence the American buttercream. Sometimes this information is kind of missed in an effort to kind of like give you the details of how to make buttercream, and I have made that videos already. So I just want to bring you behind the scene a little bit about the decisions that inform my choices, and also tell you what makes one cake different from the other as a custom cake maker. And especially with the weather changing also, decisions about buttercream are going to become very important in terms of cakes and stability. So if you stay tuned, maybe in the next future videos, I'll be bringing you some more behind the scenes information about what makes buttercream. But most of the time, if you're watching this video and you are looking for stable buttercream, stability is not the only reason for seeking buttercream, especially if you can think about your objective and goals for what you're doing, there are different sets of decisions you can make regarding buttercream, and I hope this small information helps. Now let's go and make our American buttercream. For convenience, I am employing the stand mixer. For 500 grams of butter, you can employ a hand mixer, and I believe I have already done that. And I've always maintained on the channel here that the success of your buttercream is dependent on the consistency of your butter here. So I really, you know what? I'm not even going to risk it. The butter is not the consistency I like. You'll see a raw baking moment here. So I'm gonna just put it back in the microwave for about like 40 seconds for it to soften up a little bit. You want to make sure that it's not broken. What is wrong with me today? I say you want to make sure it's not broken, and I nearly broke it. Okay. It is a bit too soft, but it will work because I am not looking to cover a cake in this. The cake itself will be covered in ganache, but this is going to fill the cake and there's room for it to chill and set. So I'll be all right. So I'm going to just cream the butter by itself for about, say, 5 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes intervals, and then we'll see. But if you really want to see an in-depth tutorial of the process, like I said, I will link resources in the description box, plus lives where I talk you through the entire thing. If I feel like I am kind of like holding back, it's not to save information or gatekeep or anything. It's because I've done this over and over again, and I'm just trying to spare myself the long chat. Okay, let's get to it. First 2.5 minutes in, and our butter is whipped up correct. At this point, you know what? You could add your sugar, but I'm just going to, let's make it see, because don't forget I broke the structure of the butter by melting it too much. So actually I'm going to add the sugar now. Let's add the sugar. When this happens, one thing you can do is, I will not be looking to change the consistency by adding either milk, liquid, or anything at all. I'm going to leave things as is, and I'm just going to add my vanilla now. And also I'm going to add a pinch of salt here. Normally for the salt, I would sometimes dissolve the salt in just a touch bit of water if I was looking to kind of like influence or change the consistency a bit or adapt it. Why would you adapt the consistency? For spreading or to support whatever you want to do. If you want to pipe smoothly, sometimes you want a free flowing consistency that is smooth piping, and sometimes if you want to make flowers with that, you want it to be a bit firmer. It all comes down to how the ratios of sugar to butter is. But in this case, because my butter has broken, and I'm not going to edit this out, I'm just going to, the purpose of Cake and Chat is actually to bring you along the process. And so if I had optimized this filming session to film and take you through an entire tutorial, maybe I'll make things differently. But these videos are also to show you the quick pivot points and the decisions you have to make during the baking process when things kind of go wrong a little bit. And in this case, I keep telling you, don't be distracted when you put stuff in the microwave, and there I went and got myself distracted. So here we are. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but you're going to see the results. So a pinch of salt here. I'm not going to worry too much. Now that's the alarm, okay? Take no notice of that, but there you go. Dismiss, and then let's make it work. Okay, now let's try and cream this in until everything is mixed together. Now the difference between the 1-to-1 ratio and the 2-to-1 ratio is that the 1-to-1 ratio yields smoother, but it's looser in terms of consistency, whereas the 2-to-1 is likely to be firmer and would require you to adapt it slightly by the addition of liquids. Naturally, with the 1-to-1 being looser and my butter broken because I melted it, let's see what the result we get. The good thing though is that the buttercream is not gone off or anything. It's going to be used to fill a cake, and there's going to be room where the cake goes in the fridge, comes out, sets, and the cake itself is going to be a book cake. There's nothing about movement and stability I'm concerned about here. That's all. The butter and sugar seems to be mixing smoothly, so I am just going to scrape everything in so I get a uniform mix. It seems like the butter and the problems I had wouldn't be an issue at all. Now let's have a taste. That is fine. I need to let it go a bit more, so I'm gonna let it cream for like another 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, and that will make it like 6 minutes in total. So between whipping the butter for 2.5 3 minutes to a total of 6 minutes, you're looking about 10 to 12 minutes of buttercream. Not bad, not really bad. Okay, and that's our buttercream done. There. It's light, fluffy, nice, yields well. I'm going to transfer it into a bowl and then I'll show you. So clearly this is how to make buttercream the wrong way, but with great results, I think. Okay. I like how smooth it looks. It's not overwhelmingly sweet. American buttercream isn't my favorite buttercream to make, but it is also my most recommended for beginners because it gets a lot of slack for how sweet it is, how lumpy it can get, and how the consistency can be slightly confusing. But if you get a simple recipe that is done right, it will take you through most things. So yeah, how to make American buttercream the wrong way, but with great results. Okay.